Hi, readers. Let's read the book, Mr. Putter and Tabby Spill the Beans. Here we go. Mr. Putter and Tabby Spill the Beans by Cynthia Rylant and Arthur Howard. Mr. Putter and Tabby Spill the Beans. Chapter 1 is called Neighbors. Chapter 2, New and Fun. Chapter 3, 100 Ways. Chapter 4, Beans. Chapter 5, Granola. Chapter 6, Wide Awake. Chapter 7, Sodas. Chapter 1, Neighbors. Mr. Putter and his fine cat Tabby lived next door to Mrs. Teaberry and her good dog Zeke. They were all good friends and neighbors. They liked doing things together. They took long walks. They had tea. And sometimes they tried new things. The new things sometimes worked out, and sometimes they didn't. But every new thing was an adventure. Chapter 2, New and Fun. One day, Mrs. Teaberry called Mr. Putter and said she had an idea for something new to try. Something new and fun, she told him. Mr. Putter was trying to fix his faucet. It was drippy. When Tabby tried to sleep in the sink, the water dripped on her head. I hope the new and fun thing fixes faucets, said Mr. Putter. Oh, it's more fun than that, said Mrs. Teaberry. It's a cooking class. A cooking class? Asked Mr. Putter. A cooking class did not sound like something new and fun to him. Are you sure about that fun part? Asked Mr. Putter. Of course, said Mrs. Teaberry. Trust me. When he hung up the phone, Mr. Putter thought about the many times he had trusted Mrs. Teaberry. I'm still not sure about the fun part, he told Tabby. Tabby just purred. The faucet wasn't drippy anymore. She could nap until things became new and fun. Chapter 3, 100 Ways. Mr. Putter and Tabby drove to the cooking class with Mrs. Teaberry and Zeke. Are you sure the class is only beans? Asked Mr. Putter. Yes, said Mrs. Teaberry. We are going to learn 100 ways to cook them. Mr. Putter looked at Tabby. He did not want to learn 100 ways to cook beans. He wanted an ice cream soda. He wanted an ice cream soda with strawberry ice cream and a cherry on top. He did not want beans. He did not want 100 ways to cook them. But he wanted to make Mrs. Teaberry happy. And sometimes their new things worked out. When they had gone to the hair show, he'd won a case of shampoo that made a very good doorstop. And when they had gone to the bug festival, he'd seen a whole new side of Tabby. Mr. Putter would make the best of beans. Chapter 4, Beans. The cooking class had many students. Mr. Putter and Mrs. Teaberry were the only ones who brought pets. The teacher said Tabby and Zeke were welcome, but they had to stay under the table. Mr. Putter did not think Zeke could stay anywhere longer than 2 minutes. But he didn't tell the teacher that. He also didn't tell the teacher that he wanted ice cream soda. He told himself to think about beans. Only beans. Beans. Chapter 5 is called Granola. When the teacher showed the class the first way to cook beans, Mr. Putter was wide awake. Tabby was purring, Zeke was scratching, and Mrs. Teaberry was taking notes. When the teacher showed the class the 7th way to cook beans, Mr. Putter was yawning. Tabby was purring, Zeke was sniffing, and Mrs. Teaberry was taking notes. And when the teacher showed the class the 14th way to cook beans, Mr. Putter was snoring. Tabby was snoring. Zeke was chewing on somebody's granola bar, and Mrs. T-Berry was taking notes. Then the woman who owned the granola bar that Zeke was chewing on decided she needed a snack. She reached under the table to put her hand in her purse, but her hand did not go into her purse. Her hand went into Zeke's sloppy, crunchy, gooey, wet mouth full of granola. Uh-oh. The woman screamed. Zeke barked. Everybody jumped. The table tipped, and beans started flying. Chapter 6, Wide Awake. It takes a lot of beans to teach a class about 100 ways to cook them, and it is amazing where beans can land once they start flying. All of a sudden, Mr. Putter and Tabby were wide awake. Mrs. T-Berry had stopped taking notes. Zeke was eating the first and the 7th ways to cook beans, and the teacher had fainted. I think those are his shoes. It looked as if this was going to be one of those new things that didn't quite work out. Chapter 7 is called Sodas. At the ice cream parlor, Mrs. T-Berry helped Mr. Putter pick beans out of his collar. Mr. Putter helped Mrs. T-Berry pour beans out of her purse, and Tabby and Zeke helped each other with a banana split. At least I learned 14 ways to cook beans, said Mrs. T-Berry. And I learned how to sleep standing up, said Mr. Putter. They both took a sip from their ice cream sodas. They both looked at Tabby and Zeke, and they stayed under the table. And they stayed under the table, said Mr. Putter. Yes, said Mrs. T-Berry, at least while it was still standing. And that's the end of Mr. Putter and Tabby Spill the Beans.